much for joining me. It's yet another edition of State of the State on this channel. I am Sunday Kolawole. Last week we had a particular event in those state, and that's talking about the primary of the All Progressives Congress (APC). This week it is the turn of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), and that will be the focus of the conversation of State of the State today, looking at the intrigues, the dynamics, and analysis of events as they unfold at the venue of the primary election. That's the international event center, the Dome in Akure, the Ondo State capital. I'm being joined by a gentleman, political analyst and public affairs commentator, Lekan Lajobi. Is that how you join me on the program?
It's a pleasure to be with you once again.
All right, we do this conversation together this morning. But then, the truth of the matter is, when you look at the templates, maybe I call it the atmosphere of the contest in the PDP, 7 people, and then you find over 600 delegates coming together to determine the fate of the 7 people, to determine which of them will fly the flag of the party, who will get the umbrella of the party. Isn't it going to be a keen contest, especially with the indirect mode of primary adopted by the PDP?
As we have seen, there are 3 types of modes of contesting in primaries: direct, indirect, and consensus. Those are the times. I think it's one of the most widely accepted system, which is the indirect, because it has to do with delegates. And then, as we're having about 600 delegates, in which are going to determine the fate of the 7 contestants who are aspirants, I think it's going to be a keen contest. And once more, it's going to be an open contest. Because it's visible enough, though it's an indirect, but they have already chosen the qualified delegates, and all eyes are on them, and we're expecting, as keen as it is, that they will come up and come out with a verifiable and a clean, clear, fair, free contest at the end of the day, which of course we're about following too. And the pedigree of the contestants, so to say, too. Most of them are not neophytes in politics. Some of them have been into politics in the last 2-3 decades, and even apart from that, the ones that are new on the block too have got 1 or 2 experiences, which of course I think they will bring to bear. And they've all crossed all the nook and crannies of the states, trying as much as possible to showcase what they have for their people as regards their own party, their manifestos, and all that. So we want to see right now how much the delegates, we prove to them that, we have listened to you, come around us, we have seen your antecedents, we have checked out your pedigree, we want to know whether you're qualified or not, today, or one is more qualified than the other through the votes at the end of the day, which of course will determine who wins the contest.
Well, one thing is paramount to the mind of the PDP. I do not know what calibration they have. I'm a journalist, I'm not a member of any political party, but I do know that every political party wants the seat of power at any point in time. Whether or not they have what to do with that power eventually when they get it is another kettle of fish. But today's indirect primary mode of election will be featuring 7 aspirants, as we did talk about, for 627 delegates to really determine who will take ownership of the umbrella in November 16 governorship election. Well, with these 7 aspirants vying for the party's ticket, each of them is relying on experience and capability to lead the opposition party to victory. But let's quickly see what exactly is going on there yet. For now, the place is set. Reports reaching in says the place is set. You find security operatives on ground, and then you find party faithful already coming into the place. They are ready for today's election, and we'll be taking feeds in the course of this program from a correspondent that's already there, as Haida Risala will be interfacing with him to know what exactly is the blow-by-blow event occurring in the place. The destiny rests with 627 delegates representing the 18 local government areas of Ondo State who will be casting their votes in the indirect primary election. Among the aspirants are Otumba Bamidele Akinboye, and I need you to note these names. We'll come back to talk about each and every one of them to know what exactly is their pedigree and what's their capacity in your opinion. So the first I'll be mentioning is Otumba Bamidele Akinboye. Is a seasoned entrepreneur, and then he's seeking this ticket for the 5th time, if my memory is not failing me. So then you also find a former governor of Ondo State, former deputy governor rather, Agbola Ajayi is again throwing his heart into the ring, canvassing party faithful to trust him with their votes. That'll be the second time you also be coming up to say, look, I can do this, permit me to. And not only those two, you find a former commissioner for environment and mineral resources, chieftain of Afenifere, Shola Ebisheni. He believes his emergency mean well for the PDP. Then a former commissioner for information, John Olamafor, is also yearning for a very proposal contest. It could be I don't like to use the word messiah, but maybe the rescuer that the PDP has been waiting for. And then you also find an engineer and project management consultant, Adeolu Akinwumi, who was special assistant to former governor of Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko. He's hoping to have a template for clear vision and mission for the party to be able to also come well in this forthcoming election. You'll find yet another person, Bosun Aribua, is a chartered accountant and tax expert. He said he has experience to manage the state's human and natural resources. And last but not the least, you find a two-term member of the House of Representatives for Ilaje Eseodo Federal Constituency, Kolade Akinjo, who is also in the mix, looking to secure the mandate of the party. Let's see sight and sounds from that venue of the primary, the Dome. And then when we come back, we'll be looking into detailed analysis of the person and pedigree of these aspirants as far as Ondo State PDP is concerned. We'll be right back, everyone. Please stay with us.
With the aim of reclaiming its status as once the ruling party in Ondo State, the PDP is once again poised to nominate a candidate for the upcoming polls, having failed at 2 governorship elections.
Several individuals are aspiring to be governor of Ondo State, but there are hurdles for each and every one of them to overcome. Part of that order is clinching the party's ticket in the primary elections. Right here at the People's Democratic Party Secretariat in Akure, the Ondo State capital, the campaign season is glaring.
7 aspirants are vying for the party's ticket, each relying on their experience and capability to lead the opposition party to victory. Their destiny however, rests with 627 delegates representing the 18 local government areas who will cast their votes in the indirect primary election. Among the aspirants is Otumba Bamidele Akinboye, a seasoned entrepreneur seeking the governorship for the 5th time.
What we are agitating for is for them to give us a level playground for all the aspirants, which I know they are going to do it. And if that is done, I think everybody will be happy. I want to come to Ondo State to comfort my people. Entrepreneur for 41 years, they understand me, and I know what it takes to run an election.
Former Ondo State Deputy Governor Agbola Ajayi is again throwing his hat into the ring, canvassing party faithful to trust him with their votes.
Politics is a game that's surrounded with controversy, mailing, propaganda. These are legitimate weapons in politics. As long as you want to be in the game, you should expect some of these things.
A former Commissioner for Environment and Mineral Resources and chieftain of Afenifere, Shola Ebisheni, believes his emergence will accord a brighter future. Former Commissioner for Information, John Olamafo, is yearning for a purposeful person as himself to be chosen as a party flag bearer. An engineer and project management consultant, Adeolu Akinwumi, who was special assistant to former Governor Olusegun Mimiko, is hoping a template of a clear vision and mission will prepare him above others. Bosun Arebua, a chartered accountant and tax expert, said he has the experience to manage the state's human and natural resources. A two-time member of the House of Representatives for Ilaje Eseodo Federal Constituency, Kolade Akinjo, is also in the mix, looking to secure the mandate of the party faithful. State Publicity Secretary of PDP, Kennedy Perete, said the party is ready for the primary, which will be conducted by a 7-man committee headed by Bayelsa State Deputy Governor Lawrence Erojapo.
That is the people that are going to form the electoral college. The delegate list is known, 627 across the 18 local governments. So everything is set. It's not going to be hide and seek. Everybody will be available to know what is going on at any time.
He noted that the accreditation of delegates will commence by 10 a.m. at the International Culture and Event Center, the Dome.
Using a place like the Dome, which has space, and I'm sure the security personnel will cordon off the center so as to be able to put an eye on each person that passes that area for that period. And since the delegates are not many, just about 627, I'm sure in 2 hours or maximum 3 hours, we have been through. Everybody would have voted, and counting will be easy. Then we announce results.
The 7 aspirants, according to reports, were cleared by the Senator Sam Ego Screening Committee to participate in the primary election that will produce a candidate for the November 16 governorship election.
That was a break to take a look at what's going on at the venue of the primary election of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and it's well, we've seen that. Let me leave the observations to you, and of course, Zahid himself was also able to give us some insight into the aspirants that are contesting today. We'll delve more into that. Each time I come across this word delve, I remember AI again. So then, let's go straight to the issue. From what you've seen, I do not know if I'm correct, but I see orderliness. Did you see that?
Yes, presumably for now, I think it's starting in a very orderly manner.
Okay.
We hope that this will continue when the process, continues as well. And then if they're able at the end of the day, to do this in a very orderly manner and come out with, a result that will be so free, fair, and all that in the process, I think it can be counted to be credible. I say this with all sense of, sincerity as regards to what happened last year during the last time during the primaries. It was chaotic, disorderly, and at the end of the day, they had to slug it out. And that place, that international event center, the Dome, became a very, very
chaotic arena.
Yeah, so we are hoping that right now, with fewer delegates right now, because at that time we had them in thousands, This time around, there are about 627, and then everything has been set orderly. We have seen so far that some of them are well seated, and even the people that are supposed to take care of the whole events that they are monitoring the security personnel and all that. So if they're able to conduct it in a very credible manner, I think it's a plus to them this time around. And we are seeing it that at the end of the day, because it's until when the votes actually starts that we will know whether the orderliness can be maintained or sustained, So if that is done, then I'll give you
it's too early to call.
Too early to call right now, because tensions are built, but the tempo is not high yet until when there are insinuations about somebody is either leading or not, or then you see that people now will blow out. Oh, something has gone wrong. This has,
But we hope that does not happen.
Yeah, I hope so, because so far so good. What we have seen, we are expectant that this will end well, so to say.
Well, taking a look at the I don't want to say magnitude. I like to say the size, the political weight of the aspirants. It seems the PDP is parading responsibly experienced politicians. I don't know. What do you think?
If we look at the array of the aspirants, it's clear, obviously, that some of them have been in governance, and just two of them in private sector that have not participated in governance before is Aribua, the chartered accountant, and then Dele Akimboye, who is a seasoned entrepreneur. I think they have not held one position in government, either in the executive or the legislative. Unlike all of them, we have seen the likes of Olumafo has been a commissioner before, Ebisheni has been a commissioner before, Adeolu Akinwumi has served under Mimiko as a special assistant, and then, Akinjo has been, a legislator, and the House of Representatives, I think a two-time or so. So we have seen that some of them, have one way or the other participated.
Deputy governor.
And yes, the deputy. So, and Agbola too, has participated, even has run almost the gamut of governance, to the extent that he contested the last time, and has been the deputy governor of the state before. So, except for those two, we have seen that the others have participated in governance, but yet that's not enough to say that the two that have not participated do not have the pedigree. After all, a seasoned chartered accountant and an entrepreneur in business that is succeeding. We do not say that even in the private sector they can bring the experience to bear. So I think, after all, they have been able to parade this time around seasoned and credible people of pedigree. But let's see how they slug it out. And if at all they come out, any one of them, I just pray that they are able to close ranks, because most of the times when the results of primary comes out, there are problems here and there, challenges here and there, and if we're not well managed, most times it could not, it will not go well with the
party structure
and all that. So I hope they'll be able to do that. And if though, because looking at the 7 of them, one would see that at least they are not new. Akingboye is contesting for the 5th time. So he's always coming and contesting and all that, and I think he's a party man. He has not deflected in any way. He has been a PDP man from the onset, contesting and all that. Looking at Aribua too, perhaps it's the first time he's coming out. The former deputy governor Agbola is contesting for the 2nd time. Ebisheni too is contesting. I think probably the 2nd time or so. I think they have contested under a Labour Party or so. Then when he crossed over. So they are not new in politics, and they are not new in contesting, for this position. But this time around, I hope that they put their best aspirant forward in PDP to able at least to contest, because actually they're in the opposition. Apart from being the opposition, they have quite an enormous task, to be able to beat APC to it. Because they are, apart from the fact that they are the ruling party at the moment, I think they have the current governor who is contesting again, as a big elephant in the room that they have to contest, again. So it's not going to be easy, even when they come out with their best of aspirants to be their candidate who will be flying the flag for the People's Democratic Party. But beyond that, we expect that it's going to be a robust, keen competition at this time, which, of course, I think at the end of the day, if that keeps happening, the democratic process will be more entrenched, and it will give more confidence and hope to the people that, yes, when people of timber and caliber, people of high pedigree, you know, are paraded to aspire to be governor.
Let's quickly get to the venue of the primary. As I have Zahid Erbisala joining me. Zahid, good morning. How do you do? Very well too. If you permit me, I'd like to know what's exactly the state of things as far as the venue is concerned. What's beyond the way and manner delegates are trickling in one by each. What exactly is the atmosphere in that place? Okay, accreditation has not started. Okay.
You are there now. You are there. Apologies for that bad audio. We're trying to reconnect. Zahid, can you not hear me properly?
Yes, I can.
I think that's a better sound from you there. So we were talking about the atmosphere in that arena. You said the committee chairman overseeing this election is already there with his team. I'd like to know if there's also the process of INEC to monitor this election there.
There is, from the explanation I was making earlier before the track connection, where we have some tables that have been set aside, tables and chairs that have been set aside for aspirants. I can see the table set aside for the aspirants, that's 7 in number.
Yes.
I can also see before me now the table set aside for INEC official.
Okay.
There's about 8 chairs there currently, but nobody is sitting on that table. Okay. So we're expecting to have their ground, just waiting for the protest to take off so they can have their seats as they designated for them.
Okay.
So for the state working committee and state executive council, there is a table also set aside for those members, and some of them already seated at that particular location.
So how peaceful is the atmosphere beyond the orderly entry or entrance of these delegates? The party spokesperson, Kennedy Perete, can tell us that the exercise will give no room for miscreants. Have you looked around? Did you see strange faces?
I haven't really, because I had to go back to the main entrance to the International Conference Center to go to this venue, the main entrance, the main gate, and it was at that point where the movement has also been restricted in a way, where those who have some form of identification, whether it's a card that we given to them by the party or that, the piece of identification there for journalists.
So it's a watertight arrangement, therefore.
What did you say?
It's a watertight arrangement, you're trying to tell me.
Yes, it is. It is. From what I see here, and just yesterday to when we spoke with the publicity secretary, he did mention that even this, aside from even the dome, which will be cordoned off, right from the Alabaka axis, is around the government office axis, a popular mall which is located at that location, would have the presence of security operatives who would ensure as much as possible that not just anybody driving to the arena to perhaps for any shady business. So that is the situation currently here at the time.
Okay.
People are moving around to ensure that it's clean that way.
We will be glad to keep reaching out to you, or you keep, reach out to us, so that we have a very well understanding of what's going on there. Please, let's keep in touch, and then very soon we'll also be able to know what else is going on there. Thank you very much, Zaid Abisala. He's to speak with us from the venue of the primary election, that's the Dome in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Lekon, what did you see?
Well, it's not surprising at the moment that this is happening because, I said it earlier on that what happened or what transpired last year was a very ugly incident, which at the end of the day, there were miscreants and the whole order that was supposed to be taken into consideration was thrown in the wind, and then there were casualties even at the end of the day. And this is not what we expect right now because I think they have learned from what happened in the past, and they have probably, for a start, right now we are experiencing this hope that it's supposed to end well. From the onset, from the gate, you have identification and identity of people that are supposed to come in, the heavy presence of security agencies, and the way Amanda has put it right now, they want to cordon off that place from, I think, the ShopRite area, from the government area, so that...
that's why you didn't mention anything.
They didn't mention at all.
No, let's go there now.
Okay. Well, it's just
popular mall.
It's just a landmark.
Of course, I agree with you.
From that mall, down, you would see that it still is, a lead way into the dome. So if that is maintained and the restrictions are maintained and then the order is maintained and some of those people right now that are expected, maybe the INEC officials and some of the other contestants are expected to be seated. I think in another hour or so they should commence, and if they are able to maintain that decorum, which of course the orderliness which right now is on ground, we might be expecting a very successful...
In another hour, that would be almost 1 p.m. or thereabouts. Yeah. Would that not be too late? Is start-off time?
Well, it's not supposed to be an excuse. Nigeria, they've told you a Nigerian factor. If
don't forget 627 delegates.
I think it's not something to... Once it is orderly done, they will call them by local governments or so, is a team. And I don't think 16, let's even divide 627 by 18. We are looking at maybe like 50 or so, less than 50 candidates or delegates of each. So at the end of the day, I don't think that...
In any case, there are also just 7 aspirants.
So I don't expect it to get into midnight or late in the day, and then that would enable them to even do it quickly. But unlike 10 o'clock, which I said accreditation how to have started, Nigerian factor and some other things, they want to cross their T's and dot their I's to make sure things go well. So let's give them that latitude of another hour or so. But I expect that it shouldn't, be extended much into or elongated much into the night, because that's another thing that perhaps they have not planned for. So they must make sure that during the day, before the day, before the sun sets, let me put it like that, by 6 they should have been able to run it off, and we know exactly who will take the day.
What are the pitfalls the PDP must avoid in this primary election, especially taking a lesson from its counterpart that did it last week?
I think the first thing right now is that looking at the array of contestants. We have about 18 or so from the All Progressive Congress, and right now we're having just 7 contenders from the PDP. And then it's not as keen as it used to be. Permit me to use that word, which of course at the moment is still making some of the contestants, the aspirants that contested the APC primary still out there saying this or that. But theirs, if it is well managed, as it is right now, remember too that theirs was a direct form of primaries. This one is an indirect, whereby delegates will be the one, to actually elect the aspirants, who will become the candidate to fly the flag of the party. So the intricacies involved are different in a way. The number of aspirants, the mode of election, then the venue. You can see now that this is a compact venue where all those people are there. But remember, the last week elections that we had through the APC, it was a world thing. So it gave so much room for a lot of lapses, whereby at the end of the day, some are coming up to say it is this or that. However, since all of them are in the same venue, and there's orderliness, security measures are put in place, and then the officials do what they're supposed to do in all honesty and transparency, with integrity, they might come out with a credible outcome, which of course would entrench so much the democratic ethos, especially making it the political parties, once that is done, I think internal democracy, which of course is always the problem, once it is done in a very transparent manner, and then we see that, yes, whoever imagines that manner, well, all of them would, support close ranks, throw in the holy branch, and they will settle and come up again as one, to fight their major counterpart, who is the ruling party. So they must learn from that and what has happened. I think they have learned from what happened last year. That's why right now they are able at least to move forward to ensure, in spite of the crisis within the party, I wasn't even expecting that they will be able to manage it up to a point that they would have the primaries that, even at the moment, would not, I mean, with what Said has told us right now, it's encouraging. We are not saying that, yes, we have got there yet, but if that continues, we might be hopeful that, it might end well. And if that happens...
So you were pessimistic, maybe like some other people, that PDP might not be getting itself an order?
Yeah, because right now it was crisis. There's no political party at the moment that don't have their crisis. Even the Labour Party that I'm talking about, they have cases in courts and all that. But the truth of the matter is that that whole crisis, after they lost the presidential elections and all that, there were, the wicked factor and all other factors, even from the state. You now see situations whereby they are not together, some are to all these factions and here and there. But for them to have been able at the end of the day, and look at the likes of the last contestant who actually flew their flag, that was Barrister Jegede then, stepping down and saying right now he has consulted and is not contesting and all that. And they are able to, unite at this point. So for me, I think they have, proved some of the critics, wrong this time, that they are able to manage the crisis in a manner that they are coming up to have, a united front to present us an election, a primary election that at the end of the day is coming like this. If they succeed, I keep repeating it, then they must have been able to at least prove to a lot of people now that, yes, they're able to manage their crisis, unlike throwing the bathwater with the baby, which of course was what happened the last time. This time around, if they're able to do it transparently well, have a candidate that emerges today, and all of them rallies around the candidate as a common, they have a common front, and there is support in all aspects, they might be going for a good fight with the All Progressive Congress.
They might be going for a good fight.
Yeah.
But what's important, really, if you ask me, is the spirit of sportsmanship that must be played out in this context.
Well, that's part of the democratic problems that we still have in our democratic culture, because most of the times people actually don't learn to accept defeats. And the spirit of sportsmanship is very important in democracy. Even in party politics, you find out that once you have lost, I think what should be done at the moment is for the interest of the party. Like one of those people that contested, during the last week All Progressive Congress primaries, has come out to say, well, he has decided to put all that has happened behind him, and that for the sake of the common interest and the common goal, is in support of the governor, who has been acclaimed to have won that primaries. I think it's DSC and Osrc, and some of them are coming out to congratulate him and all that. This is a part of the democratic culture that we all need to imbibe. But most of the time, the problem is when the processes are not transparent, when they are not credible, when people are shortchanging the other and there are double standards. Of course, you would expect some other contestants to say no, they are not going to agree. While some are still saying it is null and void, some are still laying claims to that. Some have even accepted. But we must learn to accept most of the times, especially when it is transparent and credible.
Okay, that's the addendum.
That's,
if it is transparent.
But if it's not, well, arrangements even have been made that, in case you see a fallout
there's
or
an
a
appeal committee.
there's an appeal committee. And, political parties are trying as much as possible now to not make litigation an option anymore. That, look, within the party framework and hierarchy, let us resolve
internal mechanism of resolution.
So I think if they're able to do that, the culture will begin to recline. And once that reclines, the political party structure now will have the ideal respect, and the hope will be in there for the party members to have that sense of belonging. That okay, yes, we are sure that this person has won fair and square, so we don't have a choice but to support under the interest of the party.
Now, still talking about the PDP primary of today, these 7 aspirants, you know them to some extent.
Yeah.
Are you sure they'll be sportsman enough?
Well, coincidentally, let me just put it coincidentally, I'm from that part of the senatorial district, yeah. So, and I happen to have actually met and known, most of them, but the only thing that I see right now is this. If they are able to do it transparent, I'm talking about the process of election right now. Let's assume all other things have been put in place and the process is transparent enough, there's probity in it. Well, I think they won't have a choice, because up to this moment right now, everybody, even as from nomination to to the primary elections, there has never been any issue at all. Everybody has cut across all the nook and crannies, to push forward what they have for their people. That's well enough. But finally, if the process is transparent, and then I do not foresee a situation right now, if they go ahead with what they're doing, that they won't have a transparent elections. And if that happens, I don't think any one of them will come up with the idea of not accepting defeat at the end of the day when that person has not won the elections. So they can be able this time, because I think they're learning more. They can be able with that culture now to come up and say, okay, Mr. A has won this election, and because of that, it's there's a possibility, even if it's going to be keen, but once it's transparent, even if it's by 1 vote, you will still have that joy that, okay, he has won fair and square, and everybody will rally around and support. Unlike cultures where, up till now, because it's disrupting political parties' functions.
What are your fears about this indirect primary mode adopted by the PDP?
Well, I think, for me, to be very honest with you, it's still perhaps the best for me. Because look at the intrigue. It's not as if others don't have their pros and cons. For instance, the consensus is the most difficult because people feel, that they are not carrying their own interests, along, and you just pick up someone or some set of people who are party leaders will come up with a candidate and say, an aspirant and say, look, this is the candidate
who's spoken for the party.
But no, unlike the direct primaries, you find out that it's cumbersome to manage. Is much more expensive, although it shows in a democratic manner that all party members are participatory in that elections. However, they can still be delegates. This reminds me of the indirect college, that United States of America, they get themselves involved with. Even after the presidential election, you still have the electoral college and all that. So I feel that from the delegates, if the party members have an opinion poll within themselves in their constituency to put forward a delegate. That's the first step. Then that delegate will go out to represent their choice. That makes the second, spot better than why all members of the party, as if you are going for a general elections. It might be difficult. For instance, look at the register now. Some of them are complaining about how foolproof is the register.
Despite the revalidation,
the validation and all that. So people are still saying, people just come up with fictitious names and all that. Then how do you know at the end of the day that so person has voted for so person and all that, when you cannot be there at the same time to monitor the whole thing. So it's more complex, not that it doesn't have its own pros, but the complexity is making it more cumbersome. But indirect right now, look at the votes. We are talking about 48,000, 70 in APC All Progressive Congress election results. I think they're about almost 200 or so. It's 170 something thousand voters or more. Well, we're talking about 627.
171,000
plus. But we're talking about 627 confined in the venue. Having all the party legality backing them as delegates to go there and do their bidding for whoever they find one. So I think that's more feasible. And at the same time, if those people who are delegates have been the choices of their party members from their constituency or locality to represent them, I think democracy has moved forward in a bit to indirectly. So once they are now the ones to vote for those people, if they have actually voted according to the consent of the party members initially, then it's free and fair. So we must, I think that's a form, and this perhaps is the first time, I don't know, perhaps the first or the second time All Progressive Congress is using this method. And it has brought so much, disenchantment from other people, laying claims here and there that it's not free, it's not fair. However, they would slug it out at the appeal, but all those processes would have been avoided in a way if it were to be an indirect primary. For me, personally, I still see it as more feasible than either the consensus or the direct primaries. We have 627 delegates now going there to slug it out among 7 contestants, and at the end of the day, the result will be clear.
Well, some are also talking about the representative of the national leadership of the party to conduct this election. Some will review that. Why not a sitting governor under the platform of the PDP chairing the committee? Does it change anything?
It actually does not. You know, once a thing is transparent, it is transparent. Even if you have not chosen a governor, even if you have even chosen someone from this state, for example, if the processes are transparent, what does it matter? But they are doing that in a way to show that, well, impartiality and arbitrariness is avoided in a way so that the person that is coming is neutral, he does not have this or that. But, well, to a certain extent, it might give credibility to the process. But beyond that, what matters, we have seen situations where, at the end of the day, even the one that the governor or Ododo came to do here, they are still saying no. Is this, is that, you know. But of course, even if it were not a substantive governor who came to do it, if it was to be someone else, there will still be complaints as well. But the process,
don't matter
it doesn't really matter. It's just the credibility of the party to show that, yes, this is a serious business and all that. After all, we all know how much all of them paid for the nomination fee. So none of them could be said to go, you know, just like I said earlier on, the 7 of them, they have proved themselves worthy. Within the party hierarchy, within the party framework and the jurisdiction and legality of the party to have been able to get the form. And they have gone through screening as well. And they have found that, okay, 7 of them are qualified, you know, to actually contest for that position. So for me, well, if they have chosen a governor, well, but remember again, it can be a systematic way of not, you know, having another crisis, because you know they have major crises from other factors. As we speak right now, we have to be truthful to ourselves. PDP still has a lot to do to put their house in order. They are going for a next meeting in Sultan. They want to appoint or, you know, elect a new chairman for their party and all that. So there's a lot of crisis there. Perhaps in a way to avoid those things.
Because of time, we have just very little time left. Zahid, how are you? So then, I'm sure you must have moved around between the other time and now. Any update for me?
Yes, one of the updates that we have right now is the fact that some of the aspirants are now registering their presence at this particular location. I understand that 3 of the 7 are already around. I've seen some myself, and also gotten feel like that some others are already outside. Some of the
Well, you've seen 3. Let's forget about the feelers. The ones you've seen is what I'm concerned with. You've seen 3 aspirants already registering their presence there.
Yes.
So we're expecting 4 of them.
Yes.
Okay then. So what other improvements is coming into the situation?
I think it's just about crossing the T's and dotting the I's at this time. I can see the INEC president commissioner already right here at the venue. She's already making her way down to the reserved seats for INEC. perhaps just to usher in some of the officials who will be observing this election. I can see I'm currently exchanging pleasantries with the chairman of the committee and some of the state working committee members at this time. So that's about it now, and the process really has not started.
Are you optimistic, like Leko, that it should start in a matter of an hour?
It should, yes, it should.
The Leko is correct.
No, with all he had said, it's clear that you know, when you have all those people around and the contestants are
also getting
and the delegates are coming in and the security have been able to maintain and restrict
law and order.
And all that. So what else, you know, except for it to continue?
Zahid, I wish you the very best in the coverage of the primary election of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. We'll be getting across to you in the course of our bulletins as we will be updating the people of Ondo State, the goings on at that place. Thank you so much, Zahid.
Thanks so much.
All right, that's our correspondent from the venue of the event that's talking about the primary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Akure, the Ondo State capital, the Dome specifically. Leko, as we wrap up, at the end of the day, what's the future of the PDP? In the manner in which you expect them to handle this primary election, do you think it will be able to place itself? Maybe it could be able to use this as a litmus test of putting things in order?
Yes, it's a good example of what you have just said, because I hope that if they are able to do this transparently well, it's going to send signals that right now they are more serious-minded in reconciling, you know, putting the past behind and making the party come together again as a formidable force of opposition. And if that happens, then it's good for them. However, one thing that you know, still amazed me is that out of the 18 all progressive aspirants that contested, none stepped down. So I'm still hoping maybe one or two will step down in PDP for any. But right now, well, he said about 3 contestants in the venue. Let's hope.
I just didn't want to deal with the speculation of Fila, so that once he has the fact that he could see by himself,
well,
to deal
if
with
at
that.
all, it means that people are more serious-minded now, not even minding how much they pay, you know, to get the nomination and all that. So no one is stepping down for the other. So everybody feels that is capable of being the governor, and that makes it more robust, you know, competitive in a manner that the people that have the competence and the capabilities are the ones that would elect, you know, to actually, at the end of the day, emerge as candidate and possibly the governor, you know, to rule the state and bring it, you know, better in terms of